Kia ora. All right. So, in this one, I'm going to share with you something that's going to blow your mind, and hopefully, it's something that you can take forward with you as you continue to create what you want to create, and build this life experience that you're having, in a way that is easier for you. Okay, so let's jump in. We get what we expect. And I'm going to break this all the way down. Okay. So we get what we expect. And I'm going to first open up with where this sparked back up for me. So I was watching a series called Dark Matter on Apple TV Plus. And it is about, it's like a sci-fi kind of series. It's about a scientist who creates this box that can kind of travel through the superconscious. Okay, I probably said that all wrong, but essentially they end up take all these, they get in the box and then they inject themselves with this stuff, and then they end up in what is like this corridor of all these different potentials. And when they open up a door, there's like at first what they thought like a random world when they open the door. So like you could open the door and it's like the city is under snow, or they open that door and there's like waves coming into the thing, or they open the next door and there's like a world on fire. Um, and where they're trying to go to, the whole thing in this series is where they're trying to get back to is a world where this person was in a different version of themselves. They're trying to open that door and get to that place, and they're still trying to figure out like the they're trying to understand what's happening in this corridor. And what they click onto is that how they're thinking, what they think. So at first they went in thinking what we think is what's influences what happens when we open the door, influences the kind of world behind the door. So at first they were like, we need to watch what we think, because what we think influences what happened, like what world is created when they open the door. Then as they experiment on, like as they open a few more doors and they think, well, I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking that I was going to get like, this world was going to collapse around and there's fires and everything. When the more and more they open these doors and they were collecting like the data, you could say, and finding the patterns, they realized it wasn't what they were thinking, it was how they were feeling. So they could be thinking that they wanted to open the door and walk back into the old life of his. But what they started to click onto was that because they were in such a like unknown situation, there was fear there. And as much as they wanted to open the door and have like happily ever after and find what they were looking for, they would always open the door and like go into a version of the world where it was even worse than what they like. It was like he went back into a version of his life. His wife was the same, the kid was there, but for example, he was in jail and they hated him. So it was a version of reality that they didn't want to create, but they were adamant that there's him and one other girl. And they were adamant that what they were thinking was what they were creating, because they wrote it down, they talked about exactly what they wanted to see when they opened the door. So they put a lot of effort into, making sure that their thought was on point until they opened the door and it was like it was messed up. So what they got to understanding was that at the time, what they were feeling was apprehension, fear, uncertainty, like they were thinking, and then that would lead them to think about their childhood, and that was like, so it was like not really about what they were thinking. If you're still with me on this is going to be a goodie. Um, and how I want to, and I wrote a Facebook post on this the other day, which is, this is the reason why I like this series is because the metaphor, the storyline of this series really brilliantly paints a picture of how our thinking works, and that when it comes to our subconscious, the unknown, or some people refer to it as the dark, which is the subconscious, the body, it doesn't really follow that linear kind of logical pattern. Like you can't logic your way through it. And one of the lines on the series was, you can't lie to this thing, which was the box, right? And it's the same in life. You can't lie to life about how you're truly feeling. And one of the biggest kind of barriers that we face as people is that we want what we say we want, what we think we want, but as one of my old mentors calls it, and his name Andrew Pierce, the through working with him, what he described it as is like the motivator, and this comes from like the books from Conversations with God, the driving, like the motivator, the motivating thought behind the thought, right? It's the thought behind the thought, the feeling behind the thought, the driver behind the thought, the subconscious driver behind the thought that we think we're thinking and we're wanting. It's that which we need to understand. And so how I have described this in my Facebook post the other day is that our subconscious anticipations are different to what we say and we think that we want. For example, if I want something, yet I have apprehension, or because of that apprehension or that fear, I'm anticipating that what I want isn't really possible, then that is what I'm feeling. That's the driving thought behind the thought. That's the driving feeling behind the feeling. So what I anticipate is more likely going to be closer to the outcome of what I'm actually going to receive. And that's where I'm saying we get what we expect, because our expectations, right, are either really clean. It's like, I know I'm fucking getting that because I have the proof, because I have the confidence. No, it's not the surface level, like BS, like done my affirmations confidence. It's like, I expect it. I'm going to give you an example of expecting, like just knowing, knowing, like for sure. And how that, I'm going to give you an example. So many years ago, not many, but in 2017, 18, I was working at a technology company, and I was a part of the sales org, leading the renewals and for Australia and New Zealand. And I I just knew, based on my relationships with the partners that I would have to deal with, based on my communications and just the connections that I had with my client base, and just our team around me, I was the shit. I can't put that any more plainly. Like, I was good at what I did, and it wasn't because I was a good seller. It was because I knew people, and people enjoyed working with me, and I enjoyed working with people. Some people in procurement fucking needed to relax, but even still, they were cool. And the hardest of bulldogs in procurement, if you've ever worked in tech and sales, you will know that why am I struggling to say that word? Procurement. they're just there to get the price down. So they are just the bulldogs, right? And they're the bulldogs. And even the bully of bully bulldogs, I would have a good connection with. Like when that bulldog would start going off, they would come like I would have to kind of like, hey, there's one in particular. I would kind of have that relationship with her to be like, hey, relax. I knew people, and so I knew I was really good at what I did, and that reflected in my numbers, obviously. So there was nothing Benioni could not do in that role. And even I would even be going above and beyond in my role naturally because people would come to me, right? And that is a testament to the awesome management that I was under, who just, we had a very unique relationship. But her management style was just like, do what you got to do, and full trust that you got it. And she was very detached from like needing to like micromanage and be all up in there. Anyway, there's just a bit of story and coloring to what I'm about to say. So I was the shit at what I did, and I knew people. And so anyway, it came time to like, the company decided that they were going to be like running what some companies call it champion circle. What did Nintex call it back then? Sales Excellence Club. So Sales Excellence Club was going to be in Mexico, and they were going to, obviously choose top performers. Now, I was making my number. That part was like for sure. I knew I just needed to make my number, but that was pretty solid. Again, because I knew my business. But then there was like, it wasn't just if you make your number, there was a selection, you were to be selected from the sales team. So I knew that I was going, right? Why? Because just within that period of time, within that fiscal year, I was the shit, and I was above and beyond the shit, right? Because there was just some things that needed to be taken care of, and I took care of them. And so I knew that I was going to Mexico, to the point where our VP of sales in America, right? Good old Charlie. I would like sign off my emails to him when I was having to like work more one-on-one closely with him. Or just whenever I would like have to email him about, I don't know, something that's happening with the deal, I would email and sign off with like hashtag Mexico, like Mexico. Like, LOL, like, it, let's go. And you could say it was a confident thing. It was like, I was confident, but it wasn't this, there was no doubt in my mind that I was not going to Mexico. Like, there was none, because I knew, because I expected to go to Mexico, because I was the shit, and I held it down, and because I was the shit. Would my expectation have been that high if me going above and beyond, like if they asked me to like do a little bit extra because it was really needed, and I was like, nah? Would it have been expected if I was like not feeling the role and not feeling my clients and my customers and not feeling the role and just doing an average job? Would my audacity, would my expectation of myself been as high? Probably not. I would have anticipated something a little bit differently. I would have been like, yeah, well, I'm not too sure if they would pick me because, I've been kind of just like coasting, but I knew 100 percentile that I was going to Mexico. Like, it was like, even to my colleagues, I was like, soz, bro. like I love yous, but I'm going. And yous, they knew it. They knew it too, right? This is how much it was expected. They're like, oh, of course she would go, right? So everyone around me subconsciously was also like, yeah, of course she's going. And obviously I did. And so me and Maru and I went over to this all expenses paid sales excellence trip in Mexico for 7 days when we stopped in LA, and it was a great time. And I expected that. I was not surprised. I was like, of course, right? This there was alignment between what I wanted and what I absolutely knew. The belief, the absolute fucking belief and anticipation that I was going, because logically also to me it didn't make sense that I wouldn't. I mean, look, if something had have happened and we couldn't have gone, like, that's cool. But like at that moment, I just want to give that example for emphasis that my belief, my expectation, my absolute conviction was that I was going. Now, let me get back to the human behavior side of looking at this and why I've used that as an example. Our subconscious anticipation and can be different to what we say we want. But in that example, it wasn't. I was so solid in my knowing that it's me, baby. We out. We're going. Like, it's already done. It is already done. Just gotta wait till October and we out. That right there is like the attitude. The attitude that comes, it's an attitude of expectation. Now, there are some things in life that we say we want, but we don't have that attitude that is all the way convinced ourselves that it is a done deal. In fact, when we want something, we don't expect it all the way because it's new, because we haven't done it maybe, because we don't have that conviction. And so we doubt a little bit. Now, this is more than just to say get rid of the doubt and stop doubting and like be more like do your affirmations and get more confident in what you want. This is a way bigger wānanga, okay? I'm not even gonna like insult your intelligence and give you some like the secret manifestation hack shit. This is if you can understand this with me here, if you're like you're in a good place. When you can understand these codes and these patterns, doors open, just like on that movie, doors open and you walk into what you want to walk into. Now, it is life, so, this is not magic pill type territory. This is an understanding of how life works. And also, like, it takes so many things. Okay, hold on, focus. So sometimes when we want things, we don't expect it. We hope. And in that hope, there's some doubt. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. But I feel like the fall, when we don't get what we want, fuck, that fall can be long sometimes. And if you understand this, it's like, well, then the fall doesn't need to be so long because a part of you knew that you didn't expect it. So it's like, on to the next. That's why I'm making this video, is because we spend a lot of time like falling from grace, like building ourselves up, and then when it doesn't happen, boof. And then spending a little bit of time on the ground being like, oh, why? And then taking like a year to get back out there. I mean, I did all of this. So what I'm sharing here is a way, 1 year to open doors and have them leading to where you want, but more so like getting back on the horse quicker to do more things, like handling rejection quicker, better, with more, resilience. So let's go a little bit deeper here. What we expect, or what we get, is what we expect. Now, if we ain't all the way expecting, right, then that's where half the issue is that the doubt can come in, and then it often doesn't go that way. Like, on one side of this, it's like, if you can just absolutely do what I did at the tech company, and like there are situations where you just expect it and you are so confident, go for gold, right? Go for gold, have a go. But there are times where we are heading into unknown territory and we don't know, and we haven't done this before. It's not a sure thing. So how do we handle ourselves in those situations? Let me give you more of the breakdown. We get what we expect. We get what we accept. Now we're going deep. We get what we accept about ourselves. Now, here's where we come into the subconscious realm, and we've left the domain of like things and goals and jobs and business and money and items and material. That is the surface world. That is the surface world. And we're coming into the depth, which is the intrinsic, like energetic realm, which is the subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't give a fuck about the material that we have. Okay. Down here is a whole nother world. And what I want to share with you is how we can understand that world better to help us live with more ease up here in the surface world, to help us better pay our bills, to help us, be more grounded in relationships. We're going to use the understanding of what happens down here to help us up here. So we get what we accept. We get what we expect. We get what we expect. We get what we accept. Let's build this out. We get what we expect is up here, the result, which is linked to we get what we accept, which is down here in the subconscious. What we accept about ourselves on a subconscious level influences our subconscious beliefs, anticipations, attitudes. And that influences what we're going to expect up here. You feel me? So you should probably have a notebook out at this stage because I'm just going, right? I'm just going for gold, and you can just like rewatch it back or, take your notes. Like class is in session. So what we're going to move into next is the art of acceptance. Like, to me, how I teach self-acceptance. We've got our good, our bad, and our just straight up scary, ugly. Okay? Good, bad, scary, ugly. The good we want people to see. We don't mind people seeing our good. I mean, that's what social media is all the time. Like, we're showing our good, we're showing our shiny, we're showing the good side of us. Our good, our bad, like, not our weaknesses. Go get a job and they ask you, oh, what are some of your weaknesses or what could you be better at? And you don't mind sharing a few of those things, like how I don't like being micromanaged, like I really struggle under being micromanaged. What else am I not too good at? Following authority, because I just have a problem with that because most people aren't in their authority, their body. And so, we can clash. Like, I'm not too good at that. What else? I am not good at coordination. Okay. What else? Bad. Let's get a little bit deeper. I project a lot of stuff out at those that I love. And then I catch it afterwards and it hurts me. It hurts me that I projected that hurt of mine onto them and I didn't catch it in the moment because, I'm human. But I can be really nasty when I project things. That's something I would consider like bad, right? Bad. But then it teaches me how to enhance my more compassionate side. Good. And then I want the world to see that, right? Ugly, scary. I can be really hurtful to people and just cut people off if I don't align values or you piss me off or whatever it may be. Cut. That's really ugly. I more so in my past life, but still have the ability. So I talk about my gangster and my grace. If needed, I will give someone a hiding. Like, that's my scary. If needed, I will fight. Like, that is just, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, and I don't condone violence, but I would. Like, I would. If needed, I would fight. I imagine, yeah, I would do that. Yeah. I wouldn't go looking for it. Back in the day I did, but not now. But the scary side of me is that I can inflict hurt physically on someone. Then the scarier part of that is that I can actually inflict hurt without saying a fucking thing. That that's the scary. That's scary. That is scary. I know I can do it. And I make choices about when that's necessary. When people are being inappropriate or maybe a bit racist, I can inflict hurt without saying anything. That I would use it. Ugly. Probably going with the bad about how the things that I've said and done when I'm in a triggered or when I'm in a triggered state, the way that I would yell maybe at a loved one, no matter what their age, just straight anger. That's hurt me afterwards. That's ugly to me. Being so hurt within myself, but not owning that and putting it out onto someone else is one of the ugliest acts that I've seen, that I do see from myself. And I'm not saying seen as in it's done, like I still do that. Now, I'm not just telling you these examples for fun. This is the art of acceptance. I know my good, my bad, my ugly, and my scary. I know those things. I accept those things. I accept that I have those abilities to be scary, to be angry, to be ugly. Now, also the reason why you give some examples here is for us to understand this next piece, which is when we have a preference about our good, our bad, and our ugly, like I look into the world sometimes, and social media is a great example of this. Social media implores us to show our good side and a little bit of our bad. You know how I started off with like, oh yeah, I don't like, I struggle with authority, or, those little, like those beige, like surface of, like things you wouldn't mind, like they're kind of common, right? Those things, the world implores us to show our good, put our best foot forward. And the rest of the stuff, hide that shit, right? Closet, like somewhere, bury it, don't show it. And so we've created this society where that stuff, the ugly, the scary, that shouldn't be seen. And then like the bad, depending on how bad it is, should probably not be seen. But the good should definitely be seen. Just think about it. Look at resumes, look at cover letters, look at, every time you go on like to a company's website, it always shows you the good, like what they're good at, how they're going to help you, right? What they're good at. And it's funny that transparency is talked about so much more now in corporate companies, and it's not transparency. Okay, transparency is showing the good, the bad, and the ugly, scary, without calculation. It's because in that moment, that's what is here. Companies could never, corporate companies could never show their scary and their ugly. They could never talk about how their culture actually sucks. How it appears one thing on the website, but another thing behind closed doors, and people are actually unhappy, but they just get, stay there because they get paid enough. Or, companies could never be that transparent. That's why I laugh about transparency. It's not transparency. The way in which I just made a YouTube video and just explained my good, my bad, and my ugly. And then furthermore, we would go into examples in depth, but I'm not going to do that on this video. That is transparency. You know, to own that we don't got to, like, to own and accept that these are the potentials of us. If companies, for example, I'm picking on companies right now, but if companies would only own that they don't have the best culture, you know, that they don't do everything right, and actually listen to that rather than pretending that they did, like so many companies did that. Man, with this place that we work in, that we give so much of our time to, you know, business and enterprise, it would just be so much cooler. Just to be real, like LinkedIn, that place is just a manicured shit show of everyone just putting their best foot forward. That's why I like going on there and having a sing and a dance and doing my videos, because it just totally disrupts what's going on over there, right? I know all heaps of these people on LinkedIn. It's like all these manicured, like created, curated responses, and it's like that's not that person. I know that person. I've drunk with that person. I've sat with that person. I know that person. Like that ain't you, right? And that used to be me as well, until I technically like stepped out of the matrix a little bit and was like, yeah, I don't want to play that game. Maybe I'm playing another game. Who knows? Potentially, right? Potentially, that's potentially, but potential. So, anyways, these preferences about just showing our good and then like not wanting to show our ugly or our scary, that is what's causing suffering in the world. And here's why. Let's go back to we get what we expect and we get what we accept. If you only accept your good and you hide your ugly, then essentially what you're choosing, and that's the third piece in this model, we get what we expect, we get what we accept, and we get what we choose. Choose. If we choose to only accept our good, then what we're really choosing is to hide. Hide what? Hide the ugly, scary. That's what we're choosing, really simply. If we choose only to show the good and we choose not to show the bad, the ugly, the scary, we're choosing to hide it. We are choosing an attitude of hiding. Trust you're writing that down. When we train ourselves in the art of acceptance and we choose to accept or just even allow, let's start there. When we just allow, and that's really where it starts, we allow ourselves to look at our good, look at our bad, cringe, look at our scary, ugly, like that's some serious shit. When we allow ourselves to just look at what's really on the table and be honest, when we can accept that, yeah, I'm really good at what I do. Yes, I'm really good. I just made a video today about my level of commitment and consistency to the kaupapa, to my cause of supporting leaders, to be the leaders that they got to be for their people so that, you know, we are all more empowered and to really empower Indigenous leadership. Like when I look at that commitment to the kaupapa, I am the shit. I am good at that. I own that. I also own that there's some things that I'm working on. There's some traits there that I could get a lot more done if I wasn't always cleaning my damn house and then saying I'm too busy and tired. There's some traits there that when I'm going through it, because I'm pioneering my own inner frontier, that I step on a landmine and I get triggered. And who's the first person I see? My loving, darling partner. And he cops it. And that breaks my heart that kind of ugly, like that's still not in check. That I get reactive. that I judge people and I might want to make them feel small sometimes, that I spend energy on that. But then I say I'm empowering, but I'm judgmental as well. To allow all of those parts that absolutely exist. I am judgmental. That judgmentalness, that analytical judgmental for the collectiveness creates these beautiful things that I create and share with my people. But there's a side of me that when at the wrong day, at the wrong time, and I walk into a landmine, that judgment can turn shit and shit that can really get shadowy really quickly. And that judgment comes in, and because I can't take it all on myself, I start putting it out. I start projecting it out to people. That is real. And to deny that and just prefer that I am this empowerment person who is here to help humanity and that's all I am, that is a lie. That is a lie that catches up with us. When we only prefer our good, we are lying to ourselves and it catches up, and that which we suppress, that which we resist, that which we push away, that which we resist will persist. It will come out. We are not these superhuman things that we make ourselves out to be. We are human, we are good, we are bad, and we are ugly sometimes. And the more we deny one side of us, the longer the fall. When we allow ourselves to look and accept that we have the potential to be this good, this bad, this ugly, scary sometimes, we are choosing an attitude of allowing. So we are choosing, and we get what we choose. We are choosing an attitude of allowing, okay? And in that, we're in a much better place to bring in what we want, what we expect. If we are holding preferences to just show our good side and we are denying the rest of us, the bad, the ugly, the scary, then how this plays out is that we go and say, all right, I want this new opportunity. I can see this opportunity. I want to close this client or get this job or I want this. There's something that we want. We want it. We want it. Okay. And then because we're only accepting our good side, our good, and we're like, fuck, take away, you polish up the good, get rid of the bad, put that all back there, make sure no one can see it. All right. And we go to put our best foot forward, right? I'm not saying that you can't polish up, like show your best self. It's a nuance, okay? It's not to say that you don't present yourself well. I'm a Virgo, I'm a 2/4 projector. Like I love beautiful things and presenting beautifully. Like, you know what I mean? It's not to say that you can't do that, but when we're just fixated on like just showing our good, not dealing with our bad, right? Put that over there. And we move into the world and we're like, I want that thing. What happens in the dark of the night when we're like, oh, the doubt creeps in. We're unsure. We're also still trying to keep this bad, this ugly, this scary, like in the box, in the cup, under the carpet, and in the closet over there, trying to keep that hidden. We've got this attitude of hiding. And then when we got to show up, it's like, yeah, hi, like fully transparent. Hey, yes, fully transparent. I'm such a good transparent person. This is who I am. Like this is who I am. I'm fully transparent. What do you want to what do you want to know? What do you want to know while we're pushing that down and we're pulling this up? And we're just so unbalanced, people. Like, we're just unbalanced. So we've got this attitude of actual hiding. That's the main game. It's like, we've got to hide that, we've got to present this, and like, we've got to keep our shit together. Well, you can't lie to life. So you eat, if that thing you're wanting is in alignment with a hiding, denying type of vibration, and you be hiding and like trying to like pretend like this is all you who you are. If the thing you want is in alignment with hiding and not being fully expressed, move forward. You'll probably be in alignment. But if it's not, like if the thing you want truly requires for you to be transparent or whatever it may be, and you're not being transparent, you're actually hiding, then you won't be in alignment. I can't speak too much about the outcomes, but we get what we expect, we get what we accept, and we get what we choose. Now, if you've taken majority of what I've just been talking about, winner, that's a huge concept. The art of acceptance is about knowing when we are hiding and knowing when we are allowing. Knowing when we're being honest and transparent, and knowing when we are hiding and when we are denying. It's just about understanding the differences. And that is the work. The more that we allow ourselves to just shine that light on it, the more we'll start to see. Yep. Oh, yep. Okay. There's not a magic pill for this. There's not like a 7-step formula. It is the commitment to that kaupapa of being honest, to the cause of being honest and transparent in your own life, to keeping the lights on in your own life, and taking ownership of what happens in your life, good, bad, and ugly. The art of self-acceptance is what frees people from having to hide. When you're free from having to hide, your conviction is like, I'm gonna get, I'm good. I'm good. There's less fear. Oh, if anything, from this video, I'm like fired up to do something around really teaching this like properly. My people often say, Jade, you're like a hit of cocaine, you are. It's like one video that I think is like just, half an hour video is like, to somebody else. So I'm really looking forward to like creating something that's, can be digested and really helping people master this art of acceptance, which is essentially just allowing themselves to be all of who you are and stop lying about it. Like, just be honest, don't lie, just be honest about how you feel in the moment and what you are and what you're doing, just being honest with that, you know? Um, yeah, I'm getting the vibes to create something that helps people understand this with some visuals and not just some hand gestures from me. But this is powerful stuff if you get it. It's powerful if you get it. I always look at my preferences where I'm too attached, where I'm preferring something way too handy. I look at that. That is a ding ding. Have a look at that. What's driving that? Yeah. Okay, anyway. We can't lie to life. And life is somewhat out here giving us a hiding at the moment in these times, and it's getting rough. And so I think the art of knowing how to understand self-acceptance and what that actually means, I think is the time is now to start doing that. If you want to do some mahi together on, if you want to jam on it, let me know, reach out. Um, yeah, please reach out. I do not bite. Let's have a corridor. And yeah, I'll see you on